वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल फ्रेंड्स। कुछ अर्से पहले एक रिपोर्ट आई थी फिच की तरफ से दुबई की रियल एस्टेट मार्केट के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से कि 15% डिक्लाइन आएगा दुबई की रियल एस्टेट के अंदर अगले 1 से 2 साल के अंदर। इस चीज़ को हमने कहा कि थोड़ा सा ब्रेक डाउन करते हैं और इस रिपोर्ट को भी थोड़ा सा एनालाइज करते हैं। और इस रिपोर्ट को एनालाइज करने के लिए मेरे साथ कामिल, मैंने कामिल के साथ एक पॉडकास्ट की। कामिल के साथ मैंने लास्ट कोई 3-4 कोलैबोरेशंस की थी, उसके अंदर काफ़ी पॉजिटिव रिस्पांस मिला था आप लोगों का। तो मैंने दोबारा कामिल को इनवाइट किया पॉडकास्ट के लिए और उनसे काफ़ी डिटेल में बात की इसी पॉइंट पर और डिफरेंट पॉइंट्स के ऊपर। ये पॉडकास्ट मैंने ऑलमोस्ट 2-3 हफ्ते पहले अपलोड की थी अपने इंग्लिश चैनल के ऊपर, तो ये अब मैं उर्दू चैनल के ऊपर री अपलोड कर रहा हूँ। अगर आपने इंग्लिश चैनल को ऑलरेडी देख लिया तो फिर ठीक है, बट अदरवाइज इफ़ यू हैवंट वॉच दैट तो आप इस पॉडकास्ट को देख सकते हैं। इसके अंदर बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स हाईलाइट हुए हैं दुबई की प्रॉपर्टी के मार्केट के हिसाब से। कामिल बहुत अच्छे रियल एस्टेट एजेंट हैं। अगर आपको इनको कॉन्टैक्ट करना है तो नीचे मैंने व्हाट्सएप नंबर भी दिया हुआ है जिसके थ्रू आप इनको कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। इस पॉडकास्ट की बेसिस के ऊपर मैंने कुछ अपनी लिंक्डइन पोस्ट भी बनाई थी, वो भी मैंने इस डिस्क्रिप्शन के ऊपर, इस वीडियो की डिस्क्रिप्शन के अंदर डाल दी हैं, वो भी आप जाके देख सकते हैं। बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग एस्पेक्ट्स थे जो कामिल जब प्रोड्यूस कर रहे थे तो मुझको ख्याल आ रहा था। जानने के लिए कि दुबई की रियल एस्टेट मार्केट कैसी चल रही है, आगे क्या क्या पोटेंशियल है या पोटेंशियल है भी कि नहीं है, आपके लिए पोटेंशियल है या नहीं है, तो ये सारी चीज़ें जानने के लिए इस पॉडकास्ट को पूरा देखें एंड देन कमेंट करें। और अगर कामिल से कॉन्टैक्ट करना है तो नीचे दिए हुए नंबर पर कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते हैं। विदाउट फर्दर डू, let's begin.
At that point, you will be telling that Dubai market is a scam, that nothing is growing here, it's all fairy tales. In Dubai, currently, it's 85% apartments compared to villas and townhouses. In Munich, it's 97%. In London,
90%, 97% for
apartments.
Apartments.
Yeah.
Okay.
If my 4-year-old son was randomly pressing buttons when one is market will grow, one is market will go down, he would have higher prediction rate than Bloomberg experts. Yes, as you mentioned, Fitch are the authors of the biggest fail in predictions when they gave AAA to Lehman Brothers like weeks before it crashed. They think that this best team in the world has less competence than a grocery shop's management. In any market, in any industry, 20%, 15% of investors are making money, 80% are losing money. Assume that any Indian, if he looks a bit further, he will always find someone relative or friend or someone in Dubai, right? What we see now in terms of demographics and the behavior of investors is that we have no alternatives. The appreciation of properties, because the situation in the world in general, a number of people who are pushed to move somewhere is bigger than what Dubai can build up to 2030.
Hey Kamil, how are you?
Great, thank you very much, Wali.
It's been, I think, now 6 months since we had a podcast, and it was, for me, always when I meet you, I get new perspective because I always do property videos on my other channel, even on this one. But finding out someone who is let's say, Urdu or Hindi speaking, and you always have a chance to meet people who are from a different demographic, it's always nice to have new perspective. So nowadays, there are so many things going on. There are so many things in the news. We'll discuss all of them. Negativity around Dubai properties and how things are going. So, first of all, about yourself, because although we've got 2 podcasts already on our channel, but still maybe some people are new to the video. Something about yourself.
Well, thank you very much for having me. As we discussed before, my main focus is, as I said, I'm focusing on money in real estate. So basically, I work with investors, not with the home buyers. So we are looking at the market from a perspective of potential of growth, potential of rental yields, capital appreciation, and my previous backgrounds enables a couple of skills that usually real estate agents don't have. Like I've been in charge of building a new city from scratch. So I've been on other side of the game when you are doing a master plan for a new city, so that you know, if you look on other master plan, where things are moving. I've been for 12 years CEO of investment group, been minister for investment in one of Russia's regions, and for 3 years now in Dubai, I'm doing real estate as a broker and advisor. So my clients are mainly investors looking at the potential of returns, not at buying home.
Right. So it means that you have a wide variety of demographics as well. Because, as I said before, most of my audience is coming from, let's say, India, Pakistan, even sometimes Bangladesh, Nepal as well. But and expats living outside these countries. But for you, because you're coming from Russia, you might have clients from Europe, Russia, even Ukraine, US, everywhere in the world. So the current scenario in this state market is quite negative, I would say, because recently even local press, which I haven't seen displaying such kind of news without, let's say, I won't say without verification, but let's say Fitch is not something which I would say is very credible. We have seen in back in 2008 how they predicted and what happened after that. But still they said that the Dubai market is about to, let's say, correct to up to 15%. So for that, in general, what is your opinion and how do you see things?
Well, first of all, mm, there are in media in general, if we speak, there are good things and bad things happening. Sometimes we have a lot of good news in media, one after another, like UAE is becoming number one place in the world for number of for the amount of foreign direct investments. We see that Dubai is becoming number one city in terms of population growth and demographics represented in the city. Uh, a lot of other stuff, and sometimes it coincides that some negative news are coming at the same time. But for people who invest their hard-earned money, for investors, it's not riding on the waves. It should be a very well-informed decision making, not to lose money, because in any market, in any industry, 20%, 15% of investors are making money, 80% are losing money. They are vulnerable to panic, to news, general agenda, then vulnerable to impatience, a lot of stuff. So that's why in any market, any industry, we have that ratio. So to be in that 15 or 20%, um, what I can do, I can share what is the behavior of these people who've been investing and who do that professionally, and what is their current strategy and current
Exactly,
take.
exactly. This is what my of the reason of this video and podcast is that I want to know other perspective, because I keep on meeting my own audience or people who are associating with me, and I have that perspective. But let's say, what about people who are coming from Europe, or let's say native Europeans or native Russians or native Ukrainians, or things like people from that region? What are they thinking, and are they still excited about investing in Dubai?
Well, a lot of clients coming from Europe, US, and Canada, they're ethnically Indians, Arabs, non-European nations. So
Ah, okay.
because um, majority of them moved to that countries in different conditions. When 10 years ago, UK was completely different thing compared to today, right? So these people feel more comfortable moving to UAE because they have some connection with the place. Like, let's say, for Indians, historically, Dubai has been close, very close to understanding. I assume that any Indian, if he, looks a bit further, he will always find someone, relative or friend or someone in
In
Dubai, right?
Dubai, yeah.
So Indians living in European countries, in US, Canada, would be one group. Arab-speaking people would be another group. Um, People with families or retired people was a surprise for, especially retired people were a surprise for me, because a big number of people moving from UK now are those who built a business, who have let's say fortune or some moderate legacy for their kids, and the current situation in UK is that whatever you inherit, first you need to pay 50% to the government, even if it's a business. Valuation of a business and your current cash flow is two different things. How can you pay 50% of your business without selling it and without
That's unrealized gain,
yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah,
Like even if you're not selling your, let's say, asset. Let's say if you've got a home, if it's valued at £1 million,
correct.
and if you're inheriting it, you have to pay 50% to the government. This is what I understood.
Yeah, correct. How
Even
you
even without selling it.
yeah, if you are a teacher or a doctor and you had inherited a home, right? How you are able to pay without selling this home half of its value? It's nonsense. So a lot of nonsense happening on government sides in Europe, in US, push people out of that countries. And take on Dubai of different nationalities is following. It's a better place to raise family. It's a better place to save your hard-earned money. It's a safer place for investment. It's more predictable. It has a track record of 30 years of leadership, city development. Yes, it has its ups and downs, but if you compare 30 years ups and downs in other countries, Dubai was, just perfect compared to other places. So these are the main reasons why people are moving. We discussed this because if you understand the true reasons why city is evolving and developing rapidly, you can answer the question if it still will be the case in coming years, or the boom is over. No more growth is expected. So I'm always saying that Dubai was building that enough mass of attractiveness for business, for families, for even for retired people, and now it is heavy enough to gravitate a lot of people from other countries because management model is winning people from other countries. So to stop that and to revert the situation, you need one condition. In all that countries where people are coming from, you need better conditions in terms of taxation, legislation, opportunities for doing business, for raising family, etc. Security, whatever. So imagine that in Europe, in India, in Pakistan, in Russia, in Ukraine, whatever, in all that countries simultaneously, you need to bring all that layers of your life into better shape than in Dubai. And that will be the perfect condition why people will be liquidating assets here, no more buying or selling, they're moving out, right? Even on one country's example, you can't find a reason why someone should be moving out of Dubai back to their countries right now. I don't see any reasons coming in next 5 years for that, right? And on top of it, we were projected to have 4 million population by end of 26. We are in mid-25, we are already crossing 4 million. In the new master plan, we have a prediction how the economy, real estate, foreign direct investments, and the city developments and population growth will be growing till 2040. So if population is growing 1.5 years ahead of the plan, and people who are doing that master plan, they are factually now the most competent people in public administration in the world now, because their model is the world champion in terms of attracting people. I mean, Dubai became #1 destination, most desired city for moving with the family, with the business, whatever, right? So that's a result of the team or of the leadership of this city and country. So they have a lot of competence, actually the best competence in the world, right? And a lot of people who are predicting some sudden moves in the market, like crash, correction, whatever, they think that this best team in the world has less competence than a grocery shop's management. Because when you are entering grocery shop, you see all that groceries on the shelf, and the people like predicting crashes. They're like, oh, who will eat all these groceries? They will expire tomorrow. This shop will go bankrupt. This shop knows what is the daily consumption, and according to daily consumption, they are buying these groceries, right? And bringing them to the shop. So we think that the city's management or leadership doesn't know what is the population growth and how to accordingly give the permissions for new developments, or what? How we are assessing the decision-making process with the best team in the world in charge of a city. Um, the number of new launches and the number of transactions in Dubai is monitored in real time. We all are using that systems like DXP Interact, Property Monitor. We know daily how many units were bought, what
It's
are
public
these units.
information.
Yeah, it's a public information, and government is sharing it because it's tracking it and it's showing it to us and to investors, right? So in these conditions, how come they cannot predict the demand and supply balance, right? That was a case back in 2008, right? When we didn't have all the systems, when the cities was still young, but you don't expect something to repeat itself again and again if the city is constantly evolving, right? And I don't see that those who are predicting sudden moves in the market, of course, market can go up and down, but that will not be something like crash. So it's illiterate to even use that word.
Dubai's real estate market has been on a phenomenal rise over the past few years, especially since COVID. The growth is undeniable, but here's what interesting. When you compare Dubai to global cities using the affordability or bubble index, Dubai is still doesn't fall into the bubble category. This means there is still significant potential for growth, and many investors are confident there is a lot of juice left to be extracted from this market. However, there is a catch. The skyrocketing property prices have made it increasingly difficult for the average person to invest in Dubai's real estate, even if you're going the mortgage route. But don't worry, there is a solution. I have been a fan of real estate crowdfunding as an alternative. It's a game changer for people who want to invest but don't have the capital to buy an entire property outright. Here's how it works. People pool their money together and the platform takes care of everything from navigating paperwork to managing the property. It's simple, hassle free, and effective. I've personally used SmartCrowd and I have had a fantastic experience with that platform. The platform offers great returns, and best part, you can invest from anywhere in the world. If you are thinking about making your first investment, here's a little bonus for you. Use my referral code, which is linked in the description, and you will get 250 dirhams credit as the referral bonus when you transfer your funds and complete your first investment. All right, now let's get back to the video.
And what we see now in terms of demographics and the behavior of investors is that we have no alternatives. Imagine you are living now not in Dubai, but you are in UK, in any city, in Canada, whatever. There are reasons why you are moving to Dubai, right? Let's say business, family, job opportunities, whatever out of 15 reasons push you out of the country. What alternatives you have? I'm calling it, and it's my term, don't allow anyone to use it. Dubai is a place for three bases. The only place in the world right now to establish three bases. Family base, I mean, when you have a home, you bring on your stuff, driver, nannies, etc. You establish a family base where your family is comfortable. I mean, you have outstanding schools, you have world-class healthcare, you have all the amenities, the lifestyle that a family of a high net worth individual or even a mid income family can utilize and live comfortably, right? That infrastructure competes with any global city. It's a base for your business because it's a financial center, it's a business hub, trade hub, and the business opportunities you have here, you don't have them in majority of other countries where you are moving here from. And it's also a base for your capital where you can protect your assets, right? So there are countries, let's say Greece, Turkey, Thailand, whatever, where you can establish a base for a family, or it can be let's say in Singapore you can establish a base for preserving your capital. But is it a place for also for business opportunities to grow your business exponentially? No. You have different taxation legislation systems that doesn't allow a rapid growth of your business. Is it as comfortable for your family as Dubai? right? So when you look at it as a place where you can establish everything, when you can move everything from one country to another country without breaking down, you do the business in one place and your family is in another place. There is only one city in the world where you can move, so you have no options. It's a monopoly. So if that's the case, uh, regardless what we have like in a short term today's agenda, is it negative or positive news? News, what do you call it? Background
Noise,
noise.
background noise.
Yeah,
Yes.
background noise. There are no alternatives to Dubai right now.
You are right, and actually, I like this idea, and I'll use it in the LinkedIn post because I do LinkedIn content creation. So
Then you need to tag me.
yeah, of course, of course, I'll give you full credit for this. But it's very good. Like if you are moving out from any country and you think about three pillars, one is your business, one is your second is your capital, and of course, actually, the first is family,
Yeah.
then your business, and then the capital. Those three things are all safeguarded in Dubai. So any high net worth individual or even someone from, let's say, upper middle class, if he wants to move and if he's having any kind of business, either, and we've seen this coming from Pakistan, I know from India as well, a lot of people, even from Europe, I know a lot of people who are moving in Dubai because post pandemic, there has been a push in businesses which are online. And because of that, there are a lot of people who do not comprehend what kind of people are moving into Dubai. They are just saying that, okay, these are so many buildings. Are they generating that kind of jobs as well? So I always tell them that you don't have to generate that kind of jobs here in Dubai, because nowadays it's a place where digital nomads are living. And a lot of people coming from outside, they are saving a lot of taxes. And this is a real reason. And of course, you've mentioned as a state tax in the UK. And safety and security is something which you do not have to repeat again and again, because we've seen how I was just watching a video about Birmingham and how things are in a messy situation there. A friend of mine who was on a podcast from Birmingham, he was telling me that nobody was picking garbage from their house for last 1 month. They have to pay third party to pick the garbage. So this is the kind of situation they're in right now. I want to talk about something else as well, because here in the UAE, since very long time, people are thinking that the economy is mostly dependent on oil. While this is not the case now, it has changed a lot. So what is the oil price? Because nowadays it's not that high, although we are going to talk about recent wars that is happening as well, which is going to impact oil prices. But let's say if we talk about oil prices being low, which can negatively impact how things go economically in Dubai. So what do you think about oil prices, and if they stay low, is it going to be sustained and the property prices will get impacted because of that?
So oil prices is another myth in the field. People don't know that what oil can affect is the access to liquidity with the developers. Okay, so the general frame or assumption was that countries selling oil, that money sits into investment funds, into government's pockets, and from there, it's going into financing developers. But that was in early days of UAE's development. Developers now are public companies, right? How
Balance
are
sheets.
they are relevant to oil prices? First. Second, in Dubai's GDP, if you check on Dubai Media Office site, official one, you have a very nice infographic where you will understand all the data. 25 sectors are the main contributors into GDP. Oil is less than 1%. So if there is no oil tomorrow, fine. City is not relying on it. Accessibility of liquidity for developers is not a problem and is not related to oil in any way, because I know big developers who are raising money in Singapore, in UK, in US. So how they are relevant to the oil, right? So there is no point of linking oil and properties. Even in a recent Fitch report, they made such a salad out of different pieces of data that are not related to each other. We might see oil prices going down, might see. that might be connected to the prices of the properties. How come? If you are moving with your family from Birmingham to Dubai, right? You are looking at oil prices or what? Is developer who is building apartment for you dependent on oil? No. The city's budget, is it dependent on oil so that it cannot build infrastructure for this developer? No, it's not. So how is the oil price connected to real estate? It's a big question for me. Another point is that you touched upon the war.
Yeah.
There was again there was some Bloomberg said something also in the
So because
in the
these publications like Bloomberg, Fitch, or any other let's say agency, if they talk about anything, um, I tell people that see their prediction about stock maybe for yesterday, day before yesterday, and let's say last week, and see how it performed. They say every day there is a new thing. So I don't know why even local media has picked up this report from Fitch about 15%. I think it's completely rubbish and not related anything on the ground.
I wish we could take some value from that report. I truly wish, because we lack some. I mean, my work would be easier not to do all the analysis and assessments from the ground up every time to consult my clients. And if there were some credible reports that I rely on, and I bring them to investors saying, these guys did perfect job. They understand what they're talking about. Yes, as you mentioned, Fitch are the authors of the biggest fail in predictions when they gave AAA to Lehman Brothers, like weeks before it crashed.
Yes.
Then in these reports are, I think, written by some interns in the company, coming from their first or second year in the university, because I don't have any other explanation how they put info together in the report. We have a video on CNBC, I think, where one of the directors is explaining this report, and if you just listen to it, it's like if you ask my son, what do you think of Dubai? Like, what can go wrong? And he's like answering this question. What he said was, we expect 15% decline. Okay, why 15? Why not 16? Why not 14? That might happen because there is supply, and there is another topic of oversupply. Supply, the demand will not catch up with the supply. Okay, how did you find that out if, as we discussed, population growth is 1.5 years ahead of what was planned by the city? How come that your demand and supply calculations didn't match? Second thing is that all the market told that in the feedback to Fitch that your calculations on supply are, gently speaking, inaccurate, because they took the general expected supply and they put it as a number from which they make the calculations. General expected supply will be spread over half a year before and 2 years in front of that date. So you cannot tell that all of this supply will come in one date that is mentioned in the SPA. That never happens. On top of it, if currently demand exceeds supply, how they calculated that exactly in the remaining 6 months of 25, we will see that decline if the main supply comes in 26. A lot of mismatches in the report. Another one was, again, about that oil prices. Third one was about...
basically this demand and basically demand drying up because of the population decline. I wouldn't say decline. They were saying the rate of growth is not as high as it has been. But what I have been looking into, I have seen that a lot of people are moving in, trying to move in. I know from Pakistan there are a lot of visa rejections right now. There are so many countries which you are not able to get the visas easily. So
Exactly.
if they want to prop up something, these regimes will not be intact there. The visas should be openly available. It's now earlier it was like a paper visa for Dubai, and it's always easier once you want to come in on a visit. It's just the visa paper, and you can just fly in. Now it's coming to offer same kind of process that, let's say, countries like countries in Europe or America are doing. an application-based visa regime is being followed, which will create more bottleneck for people to come in, but still everyone wants to come to Dubai. So this is what I've seen, that because of security, safety, and visa regimes, there are so many things that I don't see demand going down. And as you mentioned, that there are a lot of countries in the world whose situation will not be improving in next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, if there is, unless and until there is a drastic change in the governments or something. So if there is nothing improving there, then there is nothing to stop Dubai to have more people. And there was another great stat that I was looking into. There are 4,000 driving licenses being issued every day here in Dubai, which is a staggering number. And if you can imagine how much that impacts, I don't know if it's the correct one, but it was 4,000 something. I read this in Khalij Times. So as per your analysis, what do you say? I mean, and if I ask you as a broker, is it fair valued, the current market, or is it like undervalued, or is it overvalued, or let's say if you talk about off plan, is it good? Is it the ready property that is giving you much better value? What kind of analysis can you present here?
Um, let me put another hat,
Hmm.
not to answer as a broker, but rather as an expert, because today we are not selling anything on this podcast. Just to give you fair info, non-biased. If you're an investor, you look at the market differently compared to what home buyer looks at.
Hmm.
There is no such a thing as a demand and supply balance on a city level, because demand and supply balance in JVC is very different with, let's say, an area like Expo, and is very different in an is like an area, and is very different in an area like DIFC. So there are areas like Dubai South in general that will be completely different. So you cannot combine and divide and make a outcome that will be a pillar of your decision making for an investor. It doesn't work that way. If you are buying a home, there are different things that you are looking at. You are not looking at demand and supply, etc. You are looking at sizes, convenience, 15 minutes drive radius, what you have there, infrastructure for residents, etc. If you are investing money, you're looking at other things. So my take, it's not about looking at Bloomberg or Fitch. By the way, Bloomberg, since 2022, 2020, Bloomberg said, or Bloomberg's experts said, is a kind of meme, because 12 or 14 articles, if you Google on Bloomberg's page, if you search Dubai properties, Dubai real estate, you will see, again, I don't remember exactly, maybe something like 12 forecasts. You know how many were accurate?
Since 2022,
Yeah.
2020, 2022.
You know how many were accurate?
No.
Zero.
Zero.
If my 4-year-old son was randomly pressing buttons when one is market will grow, one is market will go down, he would have higher prediction rate than Bloomberg experts. I don't know where they're taking these people from, but with the zero accuracy in predictions, I don't think it's a credible source to even to mention. Still, there are YouTubers and some clickbait guys in the internet who take Fitch or Bloomberg's reports as a credible source, and then they add some of their spices to that, and that brings you a lot of views, because people are afraid to invest a lot of money, right? If
And
they
negativity
see,
sells, basically.
yeah, negativity, fears, and danger attracts more viewers than when you are giving some objective information, not selling pink unicorns, but not being alarmist, you know. So when you are telling as it is, it doesn't attract that a lot of attention. So there are many people who are speculating on this, but reliable sources are the ones where you have at least some success rate in predictions, right? So if you want to understand, if you want to follow these guys' advice or these companies' advice, look what was done before. Like even brokers, a lot of them have Instagram or YouTube. Track back 1 year, look what they were saying, and you will
100%.
understand if it's credible or not.
100%. 100%.
I'm doing that with my predictions. Like if you check my YouTube channel, first video was about what is going to happen with the market in 24. So I was expecting the growth to be above 20%, and I don't see any reasons why the growth will stop until at least 2030. Maybe it will not be double digit, but single digit. It will not be crashing or whatever.
When you talk about growth, you mean to say growth in prices?
Yes, I mean the appreciation of properties, because the situation in the world in general, and number of people who are pushed to move somewhere, is bigger than what Dubai can build up to 2030. Until we have that, there is no chance of crash or prices going down. If you have more buyers than available properties, in general, for on a city scale, it means in general market will be positive. But inside that market, you have sub-markets of areas, and they have very different dynamics. So you as an investor, for you, most important layer is this one, where you have areas balance and areas development plans. So that's investors' Googles, how you look at the market. But if you are a family, if you are looking for a place to move in, again, you don't have alternatives. And all that news about the wars or conflicts happening in the world, India, Pakistan tensions, recent ones, where people were going with the money.
Of course, Dubai. Because
were they going to US,
no,
to Europe, to UK,
they even cannot
to Canada,
go.
Singapore? Maybe they were going to China, Japan, North Korea, South Korea, whatever. There is only one place where they are going, right? They are taking their families, capital, business, whatever they have, and moving to only one city in the world. And as you mentioned, not everyone is granted a visa, right? So it's like a tap. Government always can increase it or decrease it, because they see it as one of their regulations. Number of visas issued, number of building permits given. So they are managing it. It's not a chaos, like everyone is doing whatever they want. No, this city is well managed. So Iran-Israel tensions, and the war is going now. Where people from Iran are going, they're going to the US, to Europe, Singapore, whatever. Or they're going to Turkey? No. They have only one country to go. Where people from Israel are going, right? Russian-Ukraine war, where people from both countries were going. If we have any tensions between North and South Korea, these people will be here, believe me. No more options. So that's why I'm saying, either you like it or not, either you like some nationalities or not, Dubai is the only place that took over the role of Switzerland. And in the middle of World War II, Switzerland was the place where the Allies were having their bank accounts and the money in the banks, and Nazis were having their money in Switzerland. It was a safe place that was not involved with any party, and that was assumed as a safe haven. Now, with different historic perspective, Dubai has that role. We don't have allies, Nazis, whatever, but we have a safe place that is neutral, that has a government policy of not interfering with the affairs of other countries. So that's the position of where Dubai is. So I can bet 1,000 dirhams with any of these ratings or whatever nonsense sayers or YouTube clickbaiters who are predicting crashes and corrections, whatever. Now, regarding corrections, it's happening every year in a couple of areas or developments when people were mismanaging their expectations. When they were buying in, our first podcast was maybe a year ago.
Maybe even less than that, maybe.
Then we were discussing that an area like JVC, where you have only one point why people would live there, and you have some of the biggest number of new launches, it cannot give you some decent returns or some decent appreciation at all. So what I was saying, it's an affordable housing where you can buy something, it will be the same price on handover, that's fine, but you are buying the cheapest price per square foot in an area of mass development, right? It's not about investment, it's about home buying, right? So you can relatively buy a relatively big number of square meters in this place to live in. Don't expect it to make you a millionaire. So it's a product like we have tools, on the table. We have a hammer, a paintbrush, we have something else. And guys in the Fitch or in Bloomberg or whatever, they're looking at all the tools and comparing them against one metric, how it appreciates or depreciates or whatever. It doesn't work that way. If you're an investor, pick this hammer. If you're a home buyer, pick the paintbrush. All the how you call it? All the unrealized expectations and crashes or corrections are happening when a lot of people are running for a paintbrush, thinking that they can hammer the
Way through.
with this tool. So that was not investors' tool. That was for home buyers. Now, when all that people who bought in JVC as an investment, who were misled by agents who don't know what investment means, or who put a lot of expectations in that properties more than they can offer in reality, they get disappointed when your property today costs the same money that it was
At the
bought
time.
for 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago, right? So what they do, they sell it at the price, at the original price. Or someone is short on cash, he needs to sell it below original price because he didn't see any appreciation. That
Are you talking about off plan, or is it like the ready properties?
the ready properties and the ones that are in a year or 6 months prior to handover, because many people were trying to they heard something from they have this piece of puzzle, that piece of puzzle, trying to make investment decision based on that. They heard that if you sell property before handover, you make more returns on equity. That makes sense. But not every property can perform in that model, right? So these people were frustrated that they cannot sell it before handover. So they are willing to take some losses because they cannot afford final payments.
Yeah, that's the point. Actually, if you are able to sustain that point, maybe then maybe you can sustain it later on as well. But if you've already tied up yourself to pay, let's say 50% at post handover, and you don't have that money, then it's your mistake that you've booked such property that you're not going to be affording that easily.
Yeah, again, as I say, we manage only one thing in our life, and that's expectations. So they didn't manage properly, they didn't set properly their expectations of what they will be making in terms of money they will have in their disposal and what kind of properties, liabilities they're taking on. And we see some corrections in this regard happening in the areas that were not from the very start performing anyway as investment, right? But we cannot take one area's numbers and extrapolate that to the full city, or vice versa. Like take one positive area's numbers and extrapolate to the full city. Like today, if someone is approaching me and asking for where to invest, I have only still the same like 1 year ago or how much time passed since
Expo?
our first podcast. It was only 3 areas where you can still make money. Expo is one of them if you want to make highest rental yields, just because you have 4,000 to 5,000 units demand coming next year, and total supply till 2030 is around 2,000 units. Not each of them will be on Airbnb. So with this balance, where you have people coming for short stay, needing accommodation in walking distance, having a higher demand than supply, you can do huge rental yields, right? You cannot expect that to happen in JVC or in Arjan or even in a place like Creek Harbor, because there is no strong anchor in the area creating short-term demand. So these are purely residential areas, and we know that they can generate from 6 to 7% in best case in long-term contracts.
But still, I think let's put aside GVC, but still many places, if you buy off-plan property, then even then you can make not significant returns, but at least market returns or even better than market returns.
Yes, of course. To have a market's average, there are some properties that perform under that average, and there are some that performing above that average, right?
Yeah.
So of course we consulting investors or investing ourselves, we look at the upper end of the market, how to get properties that will be performing above market's average. So yes, there are areas and projects where you can still make a lot of money. And
So what do you say now? Let's say, as an investor, should I go for off-plan property or ready property if I'm looking for something for investment purpose?
that's a paid advice.
Okay.
All depends again. I will ask you a couple of questions, like your timeline when you want to enter and exit. If you are okay with waiting for 5 years, one set of answers; for 3 years, another set of answers; 10 years, another set of answers. If you are expecting to exit property in a year or two, better not invest.
Yeah, of
There
course.
are other tools.
Yeah.
Now, when people say investment, they mean two things. It's either cash flow or appreciation. So based on that, I will give you some advice where to
So let's
invest.
say, because cash flow is fine, cash flow is really good, but I feel cash flow from rental property is also a pain. It's not everyone that can handle that kind of tenant issue and these things. Otherwise, you might have to hire the project manager, property manager, and these sort of things. So I would want something of, let's say, I would want something pain free. And I would want, just, let's say, if I pay once and then maybe after 3 years I have to pay something else. Maybe if I have a time horizon of 4 years or 5 years, and in that time I need a good capital appreciation.
So you're not looking at cash flow; you're looking at appreciation, right?
Yes.
So the frame, how you look at it, I will not tell you invest into this project or that project.
Yeah.
It's better to share the frame,
Framework, yes.
how you look at these properties.
Yes.
First, start with the areas and with the city scale. If you want a decent appreciation, there should be clear answers to a couple of questions. A demand and supply balance in that place. A portrait. Who is exactly a guy who will pay you premiums to get this particular unit? Why he will be doing that? I mean, if you are buying a villa or townhouse in recent launches, let's say by Damak, Azizi, there was like a Miras Acres, Nadal Sheba, whatever. I mean, launches where you have tens of thousands of units. Regardless, I don't like generalizations like buy any villa, it will appreciate. No, it will not. Townhouses and villas, they are in shortage. There are tens of thousands of villas and townhouses launched by far. In 3 years, when they come to the market, are you very sure that there is some specific ratio for any city? How many villas and townhouses should be there, or how many apartments should be there? In Dubai, currently, it's 85% apartments compared to villas and townhouses. In Munich, it's 97%. In London,
90%, 97% for
apartments.
Apartments.
Yeah.
Okay.
In London, it's different ratio. In Miami, it's around 70%.
Okay.
So there is no ratio saying that this is the perfect balance between apartments and villas. It depends on what kind of people will be moving in and where city builds that townhouse and villas. Let's say in a place where you have 30,000 villas and townhouses coming to the market, still you don't have any school with outstanding rating, right? So it's not a place where people with money will be moving to. Because if you have money, what you will be doing is, first, you want to give the best accessible education to your kids, right? Where you do that? You do that with outstanding schools, right? If you don't have outstanding schools there, and a school to be outstanding, it takes at least 3 to 5 years. So if you are building schools together with properties in some place, it means it will not be outstanding in the next 3 to 5 years. After launch, right? So in general, it's 10 years.
Yeah.
So if you don't have that, there is no reason why wealthy families will be living in that place. On other side, if the main selling point for a community is affordable, cheapest price per square foot, that's fine. But who are the people whom you will be reselling to? If you bought that in a place where you have 14,000 townhouses, villas, whatever, if you bought that just because the cheapest price per square foot, when you are reselling it, is it becoming a luxury destination? No, it's becoming still the cheapest area because it is a massive development with no residential infrastructure. Who will be buying it from you? It will be the guy who is looking for the cheapest price on the market, right? So he doesn't have money to pay you premium. You will not be making 30, 40, or 100% on your investment, because that guy is looking for the cheapest price. And among the 14,000 units bought in that area on resale, there will be the units there will be just one competition point, not the layout, not the size, whatever. It will be just the cheapest price. So that's how you find yourself in a situation where you are selling that villa or townhouse the same price that you bought it for. And at that point, you will be telling that Dubai market is a scam, that nothing is growing here, it's all fairy tales. No one will tell that I made a huge mistake. I didn't, look further than 2 steps, asking myself some common sense questions. No one does that. No one says that it was my mistake. Everyone will blame someone else. So that's why, for the appreciation point of view, you should have a frame if you want to gain that. Demand and supply balance in that place. Who is your target audience? Who are people who will buy from you and pay you a lot of premium? There should be more that kind of people than the actual properties that fit their criterias, right? One of the best projects that is in good sense disbalanced, I mean, there are more people who are willing to pay for that, but there is only 300 units, is a villas community by H&H in Dubai Hills. So Dubai Hills is one of the best family-oriented areas in the city. You have H&H, which is the best developer in terms of quality in Dubai, or I would say in Middle East even, because all the projects, high-end projects they delivered by far, by the reviews of some of the wealthiest clients I met, this is the best quality they met by far in Dubai. So this developer built 300 villas and the first master community inside Emar's bigger community, Dubai Hills. So that's success on success, So, and we see that the price cap for this area is already above 250 million dirhams. Imagine Emar's project that was selling for 10 million, 12 million maximum. People buy the plots, buy the villas, they upgrade it, refurbish it, extend, and then they are reselling it at these prices. What it tells us is there are people who are willing to pay money. There is no product. So when H&H develops these properties, by the way, villas 5 beds are selling now above 40 million dirhams. That will be easily doubling in price. Here I have all the answers. Why? It's because it's the first project that meets the highest standards of quality right from developer. You don't need to put additional work. It's very limited. It's 300 units only. It's in a very prime location. And there are already people paying double or triple that price to get decent quality in that particular place. So if you don't have these answers, then what you can expect is like gambling. Like if you invest somewhere based on generalizations that villas are good, apartments are good, or townhouses are good, it doesn't work that way. It should be a frame you're following.
There was one more thing I just want to check with you about this. There was a news like when we did the last podcast, and after that there was news which was featuring you selling multiple buildings or full building. So I was just curious, what kind of buyers are those who are buying the full building, let's say 1 floor, 2 floor, 3 floor, or even higher floor buildings, or even like high-rise building as well. Sometimes they buy multiple floors.
These are investors who are relocating capital. They want some ratios. They're buying undervalued assets, and there is some logic why they're buying full buildings. It's not because they want many properties. It's because there is a strategy. Like in that case, we have 3 exits for this one building. It will be exit on handover when we will be reselling part of units. We will keep half of them for renting out. And in 5 years, we will be selling another 30%. We divided it into 3 parts. And then in 1 year, we will be reselling another 30%. In that case, you are getting back all the equity you've invested in a building in 3 years. In another year, you are making 30% on top of it, and then you are generating 12% from your the equity that you originally invested yearly in cash flow. So there are projects in
And also,
Dubai.
you will get the discount while buying
No,
in bulk.
in that case, you didn't get because it's a government developer.
Okay.
You don't get any
Okay.
discounts, but it's the
Okay.
only place that can offer you this math and exit strategy. So there are investors who are putting a lot of money in Dubai. They need a strategy, why and where to buy, to have very sure answers, what I'll be doing on exit, how, at what numbers, etc. So that's what leads to the decisions to buy buildings, floors, whatever.
Okay. I think we have to wrap it up. It's almost 55 minutes into the podcast, and it was really nice talking to you. If somebody is watching this podcast till now, please do follow us on Instagram. Kamil's Instagram is really vibrant. I can see it's growing as well.
Thank you very
LinkedIn
much.
as well. I think you're growing on LinkedIn as well now.
Still to discover that platform, but I'm more familiar with the YouTube. By the way, the project I mentioned by H&H was the latest video.
Okay.
I really
So yes,
guess.
you can subscribe. I'll just put all the links to Kamil's social media channels. And always nice talking to you, getting insights from Dubai. And I hope we can meet again, maybe in 6 months' time, to have more insights.
Thank you very much, Wali.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.